Okay, and our last headword was geographical, new word type of lesson. Okay, so let's start with revision. Ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay, here we go. First question. Can you make yourself clearly understood when you speak English in everyday situation? Can you make yourself clearly understood when you speak English in everyday situation? Yes, I
Yes,
can
I
make
can make
myself
myself
clearly understood
clearly
when
understood
I speak
when I
English
speak
in
English
everyday
in everyday
situation.
situations.
Wait, at what time of day are the streets usually at their clearest as regards traffic? At what time of day are the streets usually at their clearest as regards traffic? The streets are
The streets
usually at
are
their
usually at
clearest
their
as
clearest
regards traffic.
as regards traffic at 3 a.m.
Very good. Who clears the tables in a restaurant? Who clears the tables in a restaurant? The waiters
The
and
waiters and
waitresses clear the
waitresses clear
tables
the
in a
table
restaurant.
in a restaurant.
Very good. If you invited me to your house, would you be my guest or my host? If you invited me to your house, would you be my guest or my host? If I
If
invited
I
you to
invited
my
you to
house,
my
I'd be
host,
your
I
host.
would be your host.
Very good. One more. If I invited you
If I
to
invited
my
you to
house,
my house,
I'd be
I'd
your host.
be your host.
Very good. If you could play host to three famous guests, which three famous people would you choose? If you could play host to three famous guests, which three famous people would you choose? If I could play
If I
host
could
to
play to host two,
to
three
three
famous
famous guests, I choose.
guests, I'd choose George Tokoro, Takeshi Kitano, Summer Akasha, who is a famous comedian in Japan.
Mansai, very good. Okay, next. What are the three forms of ride? What are the three forms of ride? The three forms
The
of
three
ride
forms of
are
ride
ride,
are
road
ride,
ridden.
road, rhythm.
Have you ever ridden a horse? Have you ever ridden a horse? Yes or no?
No, I've
Never
never
ridden a
ridden
horse.
a horse.
Very good. Have you ever ridden a bicycle at night without lights? Have you ever ridden a bicycle at night without lights? Yes or no?
No, I've never ridden a bicycle
At night, at night
at night
without
without a
lights.
light.
Very good. Okay, next. If you were a judge, on what kind of criminals would you be most severe on? If you were a judge, on what kind of criminals would you be most severe? If I were a
If
judge,
I
the
were a
kind
judge,
of
the kind
criminals
of
I'd be most
criminals
severe
I'd be
on
most severe
would
on
be
would be murderers.
murderers. Very good. Do you get very severe winters in your country? Do you get very severe winters in your country? Yes or no?
No,
We don't
we
get
don't get very severe winter in
in
my
my.
country.
Very good. What do people say they see when they receive a blow on the head? What do people say they see when they receive a blow on the head? People say they
People
see
say they
stars
see
when they
stars
receive a
when they
blow
receive
on the
a
head.
blow on the head.
Very good. What kind of people do you respect most? What kind of people do you respect most?
The
One more.
kind
The kind of
uh,
people
the kind of
I
people I
respect most
respect most
are
are my parents.
very good. Okay, if you had your own company, would you employ someone simply because they were a friend? If you had your own company, would you employ someone simply because they were a friend? Yes or no?
No, if
If
I had my own company,
I
I
wouldn't
wouldn't
employ someone
employ
simply
someone
because they
simply
were a
because
friend.
they were a friend.
Very good. What do we employ to cut bread? What do we employ to cut bread? We employ a
We
knife to
employ a
cut
knife
bread.
to cut bread.
What do we call a person who employs somebody to work for them? What do we call a person who employs somebody to work for them? We call a
We
person
call
who
a person
employs
who
somebody
employs
to work for them
somebody to work for
an
them, an
employer.
employer.
And what do we call the person who works for them? And what do we call the person who works for them? We call the
We
person
call
who
the
works
person
for
who
them
works
an
for them
employee.
an employee.
Very good. Okay. Are there a lot of machines in a factory? Are there a lot of machines in a factory? Yes, there
Yes,
are
there
a
are
lot
a
of
lot of
machines
machines
in
in a
a.
factory.
Very good. What do we use a cash machine for? What do we use a cash machine for? We use a
We
cash
use a
machine
cash
for
machine
taking
for
money
taking
out
out
of the
money
bank
out of the bank
quickly
uh,
and easily.
quickly and easily.
Very good. What could happen if you accidentally put a red sock in a washing machine with white clothes? What could happen if you accidentally put a red sock in a washing machine with white clothes? If I
If I
accidentally put a
accidentally
red
put
sock
a red
in a
sock
washing
in
machine
a washing
with white
machine with
clothes,
white
I
clothes.
could get pink
I
clothes.
could get pink clothes.
Very good. What are the three forms of fly? What are the three forms of fly? The three
The
forms of
three
fly
forms of
are
fly
fly,
are
flew,
fly,
flown. One more. Fly, flew, flown.
flew, flown.
Very good. Okay. Have you ever flown in a plane? Have you ever flown in a plane? Yes or no?
Yes,
I've flown.
I've been flown
One more.
in a
Yes,
plane.
I've flown in a
Yes,
plane.
I flown in a plane.
Very good. Are you good at drawing pictures? Are you good at drawing pictures? Yes or no?
No, I'm not good at drawing pictures.
Very good. What do we mean by a rough drawing? What do we mean by a rough drawing? By a rough
By
drawing,
a
we
rough
mean a
drawing,
very
we
simple
mean a
drawing.
very simple drawing.
Right? What's the easiest way to draw out cash? What's the easiest way to draw out cash? The easiest
The
way to
easiest
draw
way
out
to
cash
draw
is
out
to
cash
use a bank
is
card
to use a
in
bank
a
card
cash
in a
machine.
cash machine.
Very good. What does to draw the curtains mean? What does to draw the curtains mean? To draw the
To draw
curtains
the
means
cartoons
to pull
mean
them open or close.
to put them open or closed.
Very good. Okay, next, how do we form the perfect continuous tenses? How do we form the perfect continuous tenses? We form the
We
perfect
form the
continuous
perfect
tenses
continuous
by
tenses
using
by
the verb
using
have,
the verb
the
have,
word
the
been,
word
and
being,
the present
and the
participle
present
of the main verb.
participle of the main verb.
Very good. Give me an example. Give me an example, please. I have been
I
studying
have been
for
studying
two
for
hours.
2 hours.
Very good. When do we use the present perfect continuous? When do we use the present perfect continuous? We use
We
the
use the
present
present
perfect
perfect
to
continuous
say how
to
long
say
an
how
action
long
has
an
been in
action
progress
has
so
been in
far.
progress so far.
Give me an example. Give me an example, please. I have been
I
living
have
in
been
this
living
house for
in this
6 months
house
so
for
far.
6 months so far.
Very good. When do you use the past perfect continuous? When do you use the past perfect continuous? We use the
We
past
use the
perfect
past
continuous
perfect
to
continuous
communicate
to
the duration
communicate the
of an
duration of
action
an
up to
action
a particular
up
point
to a particular point in
in
the
the.
past.
Very good. Give me an example. Give me an example, please. I had been
I
living
had
in this
been living
house
in
for
this
one
house
month
for
when I
months
bought
when
my new bed.
bought my new bed.
Very good. When do we use the future perfect continuous? When do we use the future perfect continuous? We use
We
the
use
future
the
perfect
future perfect
continuous to
continuous to
communicate the
communicate
duration
the
of
direction
an
of
action
an action
up to a
for
particular
up
point
to a
in the.
particular point in the future.
Very good. Give me an example. Give me an example, please. I will have been
I
living
will have
in this
been living
house
in
for
this
eight
house
months
for
at the
eight
end of
months
this
at
year.
the end of this year.
Very good. How long had you been sitting in that room for when I came in? How long had you been sitting in that room for when I came in? I had been
I
sitting
had
in
been
this room
sitting in
for
this room for 10 minutes
when
when
you.
you came in.
Very good. Since when have you been studying English? Since when have you been studying English? I've been
So
studying
I've been
English
studying
since.
English since I was a junior high school student.
Very good. How long will you have been living in that place for when this year ends? How long will you have been living in that place for when this year ends? I'll have been
Uh,
living
I I have been living in
in this
this
house for
house for 7 years when
when this year ends.
this year ends.
Very good. Since when? Since when? Since
Since
2016.
since
2016.
2016.
Very good. Okay. What's the difference between saying I have been living here for 2 months and I have lived here for 2 months? What's the difference between saying I have been living here for 2 months and I have lived here for 2 months? There is no
There's
important
no
difference
important
between
difference
saying
is
I
between
have been
saying
living
I have
here
been
for
living
two
in
months
here for
and
two
I
months
have lived
and
here
I
for
have
two
lived here
months.
for 2 months.
Very good. Who was the last ruler of your country? Who was the last ruler of your country? The last ruler
The
of my
last ruler
country
of my
was
country was Shinzo Abe.
Mr. Suga, right? Abe and
Ah,
then
そっか。
Suga.
ん
Suga,
Sugar,
right? Suga and
Mr. Sugar.
that's correct. Okay, next. Could you draw a completely straight line without the help of a ruler? Could you draw a completely straight line without the help of a ruler? No, I couldn't
No, I
draw a
couldn't
completely
draw
straight
a
line
completely straight line
without the
without
help
the help
of
of
a.
a ruler.
Very good. Okay, generally speaking, what's the difference between Earth and world? Generally speaking, what's the difference between Earth and world? Generally speaking,
Generally
the difference
speaking, the
between
difference
Earth
between
and world
Earth and
is that
world
we
is
use
that
Earth
we use
in
Earth
the astronomical sense,
in
in
the
the
astronomical
astronomical sense,
sense,
and world
and the
in
world
the
in
geographical sense.
the geographical sense
Very
tense.
good. How far is the Earth from the Sun? How far is the Earth from the Sun? The Earth's about
They are
93
about
million miles
93
from the
million
Sun.
miles from the sun.
What's mud? What's mud? Mud's a mixture
Not a
of earth
mixture
and
of
water.
earth and water.
Very good. And that's the end of our revision. Very good. Very fast. Let's have new word. Okay. So let's start. Okay. Repeat. By means of
By means of
public
public
transport.
transport.
Very good. Okay. Listen. By means of, when we say by means of, it means with the use of or with the help of. For example, we can draw a straight line with the use of a pen and a ruler. Or we can say we can draw a straight line by means of a pen and a ruler. I work by means of bus. So it means I go to work by the help of a bus, riding a public bus. Public means available for everyone to use. For example, jeepney is the most common public vehicle in the Philippines. Transport is a noun, it means transportation. For example, I would rather have my own means of transport than use public transport because it would be more convenient for me to go to work. Let's practice. By what means can we draw a straight line? By what means can we draw a straight line? We can draw
We
a
can
straight
draw
line
a
by
straight
means
line
of a
by
pen
means of a
or a pencil, pen
pen
or a pencil,
or a pencil
and a ruler.
and a ruler.
Very good. Okay, next. By what means do you come to school? By what means do you come to school? I come to school
I come
by
to
means
school
of.
by means of a bus.
Very good. Would you rather have your own means of transport than use public transport? Would you rather have your own means of transport than use public transport? Yes or no? Huh?
Yes,
I'd rather have
I'd rather
my
have
own
my
means of
own
transport
means of
than
transport
use public
than
transport.
use of public transport.
Very good. Why? Why? Because
ん
no, I mean
because
your own means,
it's
like your own car, because it's
because it's convenience for me to use my own
vehicle,
my own vehicle.
vehicle or car. Very good,
Well,
especially in the countryside, right? Very good. Next, as a means of making money, what would you say was the best way? As a means of making money, what would you say was the best way? As a means of making
as a
money,
means of making
I'd
money,
say the best way
I'd
was.
say the,
Best
the
way was
best way was
how to earn
金
money.
作る。
What do you think? Doing business,
うん、
working hard, or going to pachinko? What's the best way?
えっと、working hard
Working hard. Very good. One more. As a means of
as a
making
means of
money,
making
I'd
money.
say the best way
I'd
was
say the best
working
way
hard.
was working hard.
Very good. Next, repeat the figure.
Figure.
Very good. Okay, listen. Figure is a noun. The word figure has several meanings. Number one, figure means a person's bodily shape. So, like the figure. For example, the best way to maintain a good figure is to exercise every day. Number two, figure also means a person of a particular kind. For example, I think the worst figure in history is Adolf Hitler. I think Alexander the Great was the greatest figure in history. Okay. Meaning number three. Another meaning of figure is the symbol for a number. For example, my mobile number has 11 figures, so it means it has 11 digits. Okay, number four. Figure can also mean representation of a human or animal in a drawing. For example, I'm drawing a circle in the air with my finger. I'm drawing the circle figure in the air. Okay, let's practice. What's the best way to maintain a good figure? What's the best way to maintain a good figure? The best way to
The best
maintain
way
a
to
good
maintain
figure
a good
is
figure is to
E-
do the exercise
Every day.
every day.
Very good. Who do you think was the greatest figure in history? Who do you think was the greatest figure in history? I think
I think
Alexander the
えっ
Great.
と
Alexander the Great.
Alexander
The Great
the Great
was the
is
greatest
the
figure
was the greatest figure
in
in
history.
history.
Very good. How many figures are there in the number of your house? How many figures are there in the number of your house? There are
There are
how many figures? Like
え
the
っと
number in your house, like 137, like your address. That's the
えっと
figure.
one o five
Oh, so three. So 105. So
three
three figures. One more.
three
There are
figures.
three figures
There are three
in the
figures
number of my
in the
house.
number of my house.
Very good. What kind of figure am I drawing in the air with my finger? What kind of figure am I drawing in the air with my finger? You're drawing a
You are
circle
drawing a
in the
circle
air,
figure
in the
in
air
the air
with your finger.
with your finger.
Very good. Okay, next word is couple.
Couple,
Adapt.
adapt.
Very good. Okay, listen. The word couple means two people who are married. For example, here we go. Mr. and Mrs. Brown are a couple. They are husband and wife. Adopt is a verb. It means to take someone else's child into your home and legally become its parent. For example, if a couple can have a child, they can adopt one. Another meaning of adopt is to adjust or accept the way of living. For example, if I live in another country, I think I'd quickly adopt the way of living in that country. Let's practice. If a couple can't have a child, what can they do? If a couple can't have a child, what can they do? If a couple
If a
can't have
couple
a
can't
child,
have a
they
child,
can adopt one.
they can adapt one.
Very good. If you went to live in another country, do you think you'd quickly adopt the way of living in that country? If you went to live in another country, do you think you'd quickly adopt the way of living in that country? Yes or no?
No,
If
if
I went to live in another
went
country,
to live in another
I
country,
don't think I'd
I
quickly
don't
adopt
think I
the
could
way of
quickly adapt
living in
the
that
way of
country.
living in that country
Why not? Why not? Because
because I have used to live
I am
in
used to
Japan.
I am used to
I am used to live in Japan,
living in Japan.
living in Japan.
But very good. One more. Because I'm used to
Because
living
I'm
in
used
Japan.
to living in Japan.
Very good. You're used to the custom. Very good answer. Okay, next repeat. Cruel.
Sorry.
What? Cruel.
Cruel.
Very good. Okay. Cruel is an adjective. It it is used to describe people who hurt others and do not feel sorry about it. For example, I think Hitler was the cruelest character in history. Let's practice. Who do you think was the cruelest character in history? Who do you think was the cruelest character in history? I think
I think 誰だっ
Hitler
けヒトラー、
was the
は
cruelest
the
character
cruelest character
in
in history.
history. Very good. Next, repeat college. One more. College.
Courage.
Very good. Okay, listen. College is a noun. It is a kind of school or part of a university that you go after high school. For example, College of Education, College of Law, etc. I belonged to the College of Education when I was at university. Let's practice. What's a college? What's a college? A college is a
College
kind of school
is a kind of
or
school
part of a university.
or part of a university.
Very good. Next, repeat burn.
Burn.
Very good. Okay, listen. The word burn is a verb. It means to be on fire, to burn. For example, if we put a piece of wood or paper into a flame, it burns. Okay, so let's practice. If we put a piece of wood or paper into a flame, what happens to it? If we put a piece of wood or paper into a flame, what happens to it? If we put
If
a piece
we
of
put a
wood
piece of
or
wood
paper into a
or
flame,
paper
it
into
burns.
a flame, it burns.
Very good. Okay, last one. Repeat. Take a bath.
Take
Okay.
a
Take a
bath.
bath. Very good.
Bath. Take a bath.
Very good. Okay, listen. So, when we take a bath, we wash our body with soap and water. For example, we take a bath every day. Okay. Okay, next word is run.
run.
Very good. Okay, listen. Run is a verb. It means to move very quickly by moving your legs more quickly than when you walk. The three forms of the verb run is run, ran, run. For example, the furthest I've ever run is like 10 kilometers. Okay, so let's practice. What are the three forms of run? What are the three forms of run? The three forms
The
of
three forms
run
of
are
run
run,
are
ran, run.
run, ran, run.
What's the furthest you've ever run? What's the furthest you've ever run? The furthest
The
I've
farthest
ever
I've
run
ever
is
run is 1.5 kilometers.
very good. Okay, so now let's move on to reading.
Oh, okay.
Very good. So our reading is at stage 5, paragraph page 413. Last headword was tire. Oh, so you're done. Let's start stage 6. Okay, reading
Okay.
is at stage 6, page 415. Okay, start with headword
シチュエーション。
situation.
Okay. Situation. What would you do if you saw someone taking